Guys, today we're going to be going through some old candy items. I call this Tier Zero. In one video, we went through Tier Zero Nouveau, which are my newer ones. These are the older, best candy items, sealed items at least. Yeah, I was going through my Chrome 4, and I think I discovered a new color. It's called white gold. So, yeah, I was going through like my Chrome 4 chafe, and I was just doing this, blah blah blah, looking at them before I put them up, and then I was like, what the fuck is this? Now I've heard of rose gold, but I'm pretty sure this is white gold. So yeah, just discovered. Tell all your friends that there is white gold to be found. I wonder what these are worth. Yeah, so today's topic, we'll be going through this fucking monster, including some pretty legendary candy items. But today's topic, will our children care about Garbage Pail Kids when they're our age? So if you're a father or mother, some of you, imagine when your children are in their 40s, will they care for Garbage Pail Kids like we care about Garbage Pail Kids? Will your children, when they're 40, care about kitty litter? And so be thinking about that. And we're going to dig through. I actually turned this box around because a lot of the super rare shit is over here on this side. And so let's go in. There's no way I can finish this box today. This number system, this Tier Zero, is actually a joke. I had a friend over a decade ago who was collecting candy kind of alongside me, and we would tier the candy. Like when we get a candy item in, we'd be like, "Oh man, this is definitely a top tier item. This is a Tier 1," and we did this whole number system. And but after a while, we would find these candy items that we'd never seen before, and we're like, dude, that's a Tier 0, meaning this is off the charts. And so I just kind of went with that, and so I have 2 boxes of what I call Tier 0. These are the tip-top. Now, these are sealed items, though, because I have whole binders and boxes full of stuff that has Tier 0 in them, but these are the sealed ones, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're just going to get started. I can see really quickly the holy grail of vintage candy collecting, and that is the heroin syringe, banned hippie sippy from 1969. Sorry, this fell out. The story on this was released in 1969 by Albert & Sons, and it represents a syringe of heroin. And it was associated with the hippie movement. And so, can you believe they made this for children? A syringe filled with little candy beads. Look at the psychedelic graphics on it. This was banned within 1 year. And here's the article. This is the original article from 1969. Associated Press. County studies narcotics linked to hippie sippy. And you're looking at the original. This is worth around $1,500 because it's sealed with the original candy. And I've actually tried this before. I've tried the candy, and also Adam Richman, I was on the TV show with, he actually ate the candy too. And there's actually a still shot of Adam Richman eating from this same candy container if you go to the credits of episode 2. Yeah, so are we going to finish this box today? No, because I just spent a minute and a half talking about this one thing, and I could go on and on. By the way, this is a complete set of buttons. As you can see, it came with a button. It keeps falling off. It came with a button that's threaded through this little top here. And this is my favorite button. That's why I keep it on mine here. But yeah, the other ones, here's the rest of them. I'll try anything. This was made for children. I'll try any drug. Hippie Sippy lives. We sell happiness. How does that grab you? Love. Sock it to me, baby. You know, you think about Garbage Pail Kids, and, you know, a lot of, you know, what we love about Garbage Pail Kids is how shocking it is. I mean, you have a girl falling from a nuclear bomb. She's fixing to commit suicide or whatever. And all these people are going to die. It's pretty shocking if you look back at some of these. Here we have a kid who was mistaken for a deer. That is not a deer, right? Hunter is not a deer. He doesn't have deer legs, does he? Does he look like a deer? No. Someone thought he was a deer, and they shot him, and he's dead, or I guess he's dead, and now he's latched to the top of a car. Here's a lady who has to eat out of the garbage, probably, or she has to collect out of the garbage, yet she still loves New York. It's pretty awesome if you go back and you really think about these cards. I don't know if some of you do that. All right, this is a Mr. Rogers candy. No, it's not actually. It was made when the Mr. Rogers show was going on. Let me set you down. I'll show you how it works. Well, first of all, it's a candy container. I collect vintage candy. This little penis-looking thing is actually the mannequin for the puppet, the finger puppet. Now, this was literally a finger puppet made in the style of, like, you know, like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And it goes on this mannequin stand like that, like so. This is also made by Albert and Sons in the early 1970s. You're talking about super fucking rare items. This is from the 1950s or 40s and 50s. Everybody that's that age is looking for what I'm holding in my hand. This is the only known example of a much beloved penny candy. No one knows the name of it. Jay Lynch was actually even looking for this. And notice I have the spoon. The spoon is never seen before. Every time I show this to someone from that age group, they're like, holy shit, I never thought I'd see this again. But this used to have fondant in it, and the old timers say it was the most delicious candy they ever had. Yeah, but I have the only known example that I've ever seen. This was called Spider Eggs. Very rare bubble gum here from the late 70s. Now this is actually Topps Presto, who was like a magician mascot. This was his magic wand basically on the box, the Topps box. And it was, as you can see, some bubble gum. This is Fleer 1988 Monster Stick Candy. It was basically a big ass lollipop with a finger puppet monster on top. It was only released for one Halloween season of 1988, which was a couple years after these came out originally, right? Yeah, so have you had time to think about it? So do you think your children, when they're in their 40s, not you, you're already there, when your children are at our age, will they like kitty litter? Will they like Atom Bomb? Will they like Battered Brad? Do you think they will love Garbage Pail Kids as much as we do? Now, I mean, I would assume like 99% of us will say, no, of course not. So the next point is, well, what's going to happen to all this shit that we collected? So I'm talking about in 20 years, 25 years, what will happen to the value of all this stuff we collected? Okay, so I'm assuming we'll be alive, I guess, you know, a lot of us, some of us not. We'll start dying off. So what's going to happen to the value of Garbage Pail Kids when our children grow up? All right, so this is a street theme bubblegum, but they also produced a camouflage bubblegum at the same time, both by Donruss. So it's sort of like War and Peace, or, like Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was going on. Look how they answered that era by making two bubblegums that speak to both sides. Plus, it's sort of like boys would eat that, and I guess girls would eat the Love-Its. But yeah, super cool. And I have a box of those. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, these are really nice too. You're looking at the complete set of 1969 Hello Candy. These were obviously little telephones made by Albert and Sons. This little guy popped off. This was made along the same era as Mr. Rogers and Hippie Sippy. So same company, same mind. But they're little telephones and they have candy inside them. I've always loved that they look like Novo Bonbon cheap toy colors. You will be reading, hopefully some of you will be reading an article in the upcoming Garbage Pail Kids Almanac. Do you guys read the Almanac? You need to read my article that's coming out in October, and you'll understand why Alberts used yellow, blue, green, and red just like Tops did. These are badass. These are from the early 70s. Monster powder candies. Look at that guy. Your parents probably remember these. Or maybe, or somebody. Your uncle or somebody. This is super rare as well. This is made by Tops. Made in the late 60s. Very Garbage Pail Kids. I love these too. These are little purse candy containers, super rare, made by the Rosen Company. I've got an empty orange. Oh, this is the only one of these I've ever seen, a bowling pin candy. I've never seen a bowling candy form. So that's another thing I do. I try to find candy in all forms, basically, because I collect novelty candy. So here's some telephones, here's a bowling pin, purses, feet, monster heads. There's a lot of monster heads. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is another made by Alberts during that crazy late 60s, early 70s era. It goes right there with those. They made some super cool things. Here's some more that came from Alberts during that period. They're umbrella candies. They would go right there. This little guy's cool. It's a little suitcase. Used to have chocolates in it. Chocolates don't save very well. That's the thing about candy. If it's made out of chocolate, it can deteriorate pretty quickly. That's what makes this Hippie Sippy so rare. These are actually chocolate, but the reason they sometimes survive is because they were candy coated. But if they were not candy coated, they would just be a blob of gray matter at the bottom of it. It'd be really gross. These were made by Tops in 1972. These are the candy shakes. You might have heard about those or seen them on old Tops ads. But that's them. I don't have all the colors. I don't even know. No one even knows how many colors they made. That's how rare some of this stuff is. Because if I ask you right now, go find me a 1972 Top Shakes candy, and I want it sealed, where would you find one? These were made by Alberts in the late 60s. Let me pull those out because they will go in this pile. I fucking love these things, even though they're very girly. Yeah, just old Albert stuffs is super cool. They're little plastic purses, but they have candy in them. Obviously made for girls, And there's actually a bunch of those. Sometimes I sell them, but these are the ones I've kept for myself. Oh, here's another one. Yeah, I just wanted like one of each sculpt, basically. And so if you look at them, well, that's the same sculpt, but there's 4 different sculpts. So say they made them in many more colors than that. This came out, this is a 1969 or 1970 moon landing celebration candy with original candy. So that's why this stuff is in this box. It's not only super rare, but a lot of these are kind of delicate. So look at those legs. This is cheap fucking plastic. This is the cheapest plastic you can get. And so I have to put them in a hard box, and I have to pack them in a certain way because this stuff is super rare. Okay, you guys will love this. This is the prototype Mr. Bones Clear. We call this Crystal Bones. There's only 2 in existence. You would value this around $3,000. It should go for more than that, but that's just a base price. And here it is. This was bought by an employee that worked at Fleer, and he grabbed a test sample and saved it all those years. Look at that. And there is one other test example known that's, Crystal Bones. But there's one of them. What is this? This is from the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. Comes with a random little army truck. But yeah, a little pirate chest. All right, so that finished out that row. So yeah, I won't put that back right now. Let's try to do the second row, and then we'll call it a day. So yeah, man. So I was just thinking today, because I have a daughter and she's 21, and she's an adult now, and I was always kind of curious, when my daughter grows up, and we're kind of to that point now, is she going to care about Garbage Pail Kids? Because she was raised on Garbage Pail Kids. I started her actually in the 1st grade, opening packs. Do you open packs with your children? Do you talk about Garbage Pail Kids with your children? And at what age did you start? So I started Ivy when she was 6 years old, and probably a little bit before, honestly. But, I really focused on it when she was in 1st grade. By the way, this thing, I've never seen another one. It's from Mexico. Well, it's Guadalajara. Is that Mexico? I don't know. Anyway, a very rare house form. I've never seen another candy house, and there's one that's super cool. Here's a rare as fuck. Here's a 1988 Now and Later sealed. What the fuck? Sealed. Now and Later. What would it cost for me to sell this? I want an arm. I want someone's arm for that. Here's a prototype Top Strawberry unreleased candy container. Yeah, I don't blame them for not releasing this because it's just so blah, it's like nothing to it. This is a Topps prototype Darth Vader. Topps made 2 Darth Vader candies. You can go buy them on eBay. They're super cheap. They're like $10 a piece. But this is the proto. They never released this because they thought it was too complicated for children to get it open. But basically, you take his helmet off. Now, this does not come apart. It's on a hinge. And so someone took a lot of time to mold this, to, cast it and figure that out. And it turned out to be unusable for mass market. But yeah, there's the prototype. Yeah, got more Topps coming out. These are 1980, from 1980. Almost impossible to find, just so impossible. That's why they're in this box. Dippets. They're called Topps Dippets. Basically, you took the plug out of the candy lock, and there's powder in there that you dipped in to get. This is also Tops. Should be Wolfman. And I can't remember the name of this candy. Monster something, but I can't remember the name of it. Yeah. You're just not going to see another one. Here's some more Tops prototypes. These are some Skull made by Tops in the early 70s. These were supposed to go on a straw, sort of like their Presto magic wands, but smaller. And they just couldn't figure out. It's probably because if you filled this with bubble gum, it would make it so heavy because it's so big. It probably wasn't very feasible to fill this whole thing up with candy, and so yeah, they never used it. This is another Tops unreleased candy item or bubble gum. It's Bazooka Joe, and you're looking at the prototype. Now, Mark Newgarden says that he's seen another one of these. He even thinks he has one of these protos of Bazooka Joe, but he can't find it at the moment. And they're probably going to use this in the upcoming Tops book. This, they're going to need like a picture of it and some other shit, but we definitely talked about that one. Oh, this is Albert's. This is a 1969 candy cigar. This is plastic. This was made during that crazy period when they made Hippie Sippy. Same company, same mind. Okay, let's see. Phoenix. We just saw Phoenix. We saw it on Now and Later. Yeah, the makers of Now and Later also did candy containers during the 70s, and they made Popeye, and they also made the even greater. Who's that? Who the fuck is that? That is Fat Albert. Can you believe they made a Fat Albert candy? Did you know this existed? Well, you might have bought it when you were a kid. Let me get these out. That's what I'm doing right now. Let me just pull all these bad boys out. Okay, here we go. So yeah, they made a Popeye, because you remember Popeye was super popular. I get these Popeyes in pretty often. The thing about collecting the Popeyes is getting them in all the colors. Some of the colors are more rare, but there's 4 of those. But yeah, the bad boy is definitely the Fat Albert from 1973. A couple years before I was born, but I definitely watched a ton of Fat Albert, who was a very Garbage Pail Kid character because, he played in the Garbage Dump, right? Remember that? With all of his little Garbage Pail Kid-like friends, like Dumb Donald, and there was a Russell character I remember for sure. All right, let's see what's in here. Yeah, this is going to be the first contradiction. So I said that these are the dream items. Now, right here, there's actually 3 that are not dream items. These right here. These you can get for under $50 a piece. In fact, I have one of these for sale currently in my store. What it is it's a shotgun shell. Keep in mind this was sold to children. Look how it looks exactly like a shotgun shell in every shape and form. It almost looks like a little BB gun holder called Buckshot. And there's a guy on the box holding a gun to your face, literally pointing a gun straight at your face. And these are called Biddy Bombs. You might remember those. Same container. Yeah, I just decided to keep them all together. But this is the rarity. This is just a weird follow-up to all this. Same company. It's all Donruss, but it's called Double Up. And this one you rarely ever see. So I just keep the family together. Plus they're kind of small, so. This is actually a new piece came in probably 2 months ago. It's a Fleer bubblegum cigar from the 1950s. Oh, here's another finger puppet. You might remember those. Topps released these. A lot of people released these. But I saved this guy because he goes with the monster sticks. Yeah, what happened is I had a monster stick break. Like the fucking thing broke. Like the whole thing, just like the wrapper broke or whatever, the cello. And so I decided just to toss it and keep our little friend here. And we got this much left here for today. Man, I hate kind of breaking that little pile up because they're nicely stacked. These are by the brand Swizzles. You might remember those. But what you would do, I'm going to put you down, you would open this little whistle up. And there used to be a piece of, tart candy here. And then when you were done, you had your little whistle. So you might remember those from the 80s. Made by Swizzles. This is a rare German. Look at that. It's like a post box form. Look at that. Yeah, anytime I see a new form of candy container, I buy it. This is crazy. Like, I don't think we even have these in America. So, here's one I found. You can tell it's super old, probably 70s. Yeah, Alan Mitchell, 70s and 80s. But it's a little, little slot machine there. These, I don't want to pull them all out, but these, you remember the lipstick candies? Yeah, I'd really prefer not to take those out. They were made by two companies. Swizzles made them, but also CD Company made them, who made Smartie candies. Let me see if I can pull these out. There they go. This is a Topps prototype. And I don't think we have a product name for this item even. But they were always looking at different, containers to put gum and candy in. And this was one that just came to the table, and I don't guess they could ever figure out what to use it for. But it ended up in one of the employees' hands, and that's how I got it. And last but not least, looks like a little trash bin. But it's actually not a trash bin. It's another prototype from the 70s. I can tell you right now that's probably why they didn't use it, is because that hinge is probably hard for kids, and it looks like it's going to snap. I don't even want to open this thing. Yeah, just another item that went through some Topps employees' hands and ended up in my hands, right? All right, and we'll finish this box another time. You can see some goodies. Got some He-Man candies coming up. Smurfs, Labyrinth. Yeah, badass shit. A lot of 80s stuff in the next little round. Yeah, so today's topic, let's wrap it up. Will our children, when they're in their 40s, care about Garbage Pail Kids as much as we do? I can tell you right now that my 21-year-old who was raised on Garbage Pail Kids, who her dad has been like a community leader this whole fucking time, and she knew that. And I even tried to make her a leader at certain times, and she has her own name, she's Ivy Van. She could care less about Garbage Pail Kids, and this shit is all around my house. It's joked about on a weekly basis even, and I can just tell you it did not stick at all. She could care less about any of this. So there's a question to where is this brand going long term? I'm also concerned that Topps isn't really making Garbage Pail Kids geared towards children. Yeah, look at this is a fucking nightmare. I can't even. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to take those out, but they fell. Little plastic, little slippery bastards. Just stack them in there. Yeah, some super cool stuff. But yeah, just be thinking, man. There's no solution. I just, obviously, our kids probably won't like any of this. The nightmare in my mind is, dying. In the next probably 10 years, I'll probably leave this earth, and this shit be sitting beside the road, and there's nothing anyone can do about it, man. But that's kind of personal, that's with me and her, but maybe your kids love it, maybe they do. I just don't know on a mass scale if Garbage Pail Kids have really made an impact with the new generation. Okay. What do you guys think? Yeah, that thing's crazy, man. Oh, here's one thing we could even say that think about this generation. Think about the guys who were our age, back in the 70s, And I still care about this, Mr. Rogers. I still, take care of the older generation's items like these. One reason is because, I know what a telephone is, I'm just wondering, has Garbage Pail Kids made a big enough impact to carry on to a different generation besides our own? It just feels like Chrome is just a fan service. They're making this for us. They're not making this for little kids. It's all just about our little generation. All right, guys. Y'all have a good rest of your day. I'll put all this shit up. That's all I had. Yeah, nothing has come in today. It's been actually a slow fucking week. Unusually slow, so that's why I got this motherfucker out. All right, I'll talk to you later. Russ Van out.